What's up, y'all?
Morning.
When you have your phone, go to your YouTube account and search for Team Access. You already have that.
Yeah.
I did it actually.
All right.
And you can subscribe, and then that is our meetings for the time being. And then we'll be back for a little while, and we'll say we're going to do another one. And find it?
What are you looking for?
Team Access on YouTube. That's right. You can subscribe.
Oh, videos right now?
Yeah, well, because then that's the live feed, so you'll have that. So in case you want
Oh, yeah.
any of the trainings,
This right.
yeah, here's live. Hi. So
What's it?
it's Team Access.
Yeah, the whole list.
It should just,
Scroll down.
well, it's on the leg. Yeah, scroll down. You should see the logo. If not, we can do it another time. So I just wanted to kind of, that way you got it with that stuff. It's real funny. Okay, so let me. What's up, y'all? Okay, so we can turn the volume off on that. So we know there's a delay just in case someone, So, all right. So we've got that. And again, this will be our trainings and stuff like that. We keep it, and then we'll move it on. We keep it like pirate radio, right? Do it, you create a new email address and a new set, and go from there. Yeah, right? So, how's everybody doing? Good. Securities training's going well. Getting things down, groove and learning. Very, very, very good. Couple things. We've got Oz night on Wednesday night, right? So it's going to be here in 11 seconds, right? So one of the things that we want to make sure we do is put our list together and start figuring out who we want. It's the last one of the year. It's going to be another month. It'll be, I believe, January 11th will be the following Oz night. Right, so we'll go from the 14th to the 11th, and then we'll start the every 2 weeks again until we create the momentum to get it every week. We'll put together the securities training schedule and stuff like that with Robin to find out, the Wednesdays that we'll be here and the Saturdays and stuff. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are on Saturdays. We probably won't have trainings those days, but we will figure all of that stuff out. Okay, so going down my announcement lists. Monday. I believe they're releasing the convention registration on Monday. Okay, if you have your Primerica account on your app, if you have your app, do me a favor in the next day, log in, update it, make sure that it's current, because that's where they're going to release it, and then have your Slack because they'll release it and then we'll send it out. Here's my thing. It's $75 to register for the convention. Everybody registers for the convention. Everyone registers for the room, right? Here's the thing. If you don't plan on going, or if you think you might go and then you decide not to go, we will get somebody to take your registration if you end up not going, right? We'll get somebody to take your room if you're not going. Now you're going, but let's be on top of this. There's something about having some pending things out there, and that's kind of what the first part of this morning is going to be about, is integrating and allowing the Primerica, our advantages to come be advantages. So one of the things about Primerica is we're really good at getting smart, focused, or not so smart, unfocused, right? We're good at getting people excited. Now, there are people that I have met that are like, I don't get excited. Bullshit. I have been, we all get excited. Now, we get excited in our own way, right? There are some people that run up and down the aisles screaming, and there's other people that just kind of sit back and chill, but there's a level of enthusiasm to what's going on, okay? Primerica is really good at tapping that. So we want to be able to take advantage of that. Now, at the same time, we want to be able to do it in alignment with who we are and what's going on. You all right there, my friend? Okay, good. And so one of the things that, right, so we're going to talk this morning about the Primerica tools because we have to access a new piece of the business. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about big events. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to explain Sandlot big events first. Okay, what's a big event? So a fast start, a builder school, right, where you get a bunch of offices together, a retreat, a convention, right? There's where you get a lot of people in a room. Okay, for at the end of the day, that's like what constitutes a big event. Well, in Primerica, every 90 days, that right, Art built this thing with what he called a fast start, which was really designed to get new people off to a fast start. Now, here's how they were originated. Okay, so Art, right? So Atlanta, Georgia, right, is where Primerica started. A.L. Williams, and so Primerica go in and Art, and then every 6 weeks, all the agents around would come and see Art. And they'd sit with Art on Friday night, and Art would do about 2.5 hours on Friday night, and they would rally them all up and get them all going, and then on Saturday, they do some recognition, and they do some training, and then they pat them on the butt and send them on their way. And every 6 weeks, people would jump in a car and drive to go see Art. And that's what a festival, because it was, dude, you got to come with me, man. You got to hear this guy because Art's a good speaker, had things going, good at rallying, taking on the industry, telling the story, and really good at getting people going. And so what happened, David, is you look at your friends, you're like, dude, you got to come hear this guy. And so you throw anyone who's interested in the business into the car, drive 6 hours, get them in, and have Art light their ass up because he was really, really good at telling the story, getting the emotions, and knowing what's going on. Well, as it started to grow, they started developing more leaders, started doing things, and people started getting further distance. Driving from California to Atlanta every 6 weeks becomes counterproductive. Plus, then what happened is different leaders started going, and then Art left and all sorts of stuff. And so the concept of the fast start is every 90, since I've been in the business, was let's celebrate growth. Right? Mike Sharp was the biggest guy of this, right? The $5 million earner. He goes, big events are designed to showcase growth and celebrate. Your job is to, Shane Rudman said this a long time ago. He said, your job is to get more people to the next event than at the last event and win. This is new school for me, right? Because old school for me right now would lose my crap because no one's writing that down. Right? So I'd write that down. That's just one of those things. We're going to get good at taking notes and kind of knowing what's going on. And so Shane Rudman said, the key to success in Primerica is getting more people to the next event than you had at the last event and win. Now let's put a little pin in this conversation and talk about why I think writing that down is important. Because you're like, I got it. What business are you in? Okay, but what beyond that, what business are we in? Are we in the duplication and distribution business? See, all of you are going to run a training at some point, aren't you? So at some point soon, you're going to stand in front of a room and you're going to be able to introduce the ideas of this. And you're going to say, Sears taught me that Rudman said the key to success in Primerica is to get more people to the next event than you got at the last event and win. Well, if you don't write that down and you don't remember that, then you're not going to actually be able to say that. And now you're going to be standing in front of a room making shit up. And one of the things that we realized is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have to put it on a Ferrari. So we got to figure out what works. Does this make sense? So there's a balancing act. And we haven't done a lot of growth in this process, right? So part of this is I'm going to be highlighting and explaining why we do different things. It's not about anyone in the room getting caught. There's a couple of you right now mad at me like, I'm making fun of you. I'm not making fun. I'm trying to teach you why these things are important because for the last 4 years, they haven't been. For the last 4 years, it's been, we're working on this, and here's the thinking, and here's the mindset, and here's the handouts, and here's what's going on. But we've pivoted into the growth model of our business. And so there are going to be lots of little phrases and lots of little ideas and lots of concepts that you're going to want to take and to be able to communicate to other people. And so storing that data somewhere is an important piece. Make sense? Okay, so what does it mean to get more people to the next event than you had at the last event and win? Well, if our business is distribution, who wants to eat in an empty restaurant? No one, right? Hey, don't leave me alone. For most people, right, if we walk into a restaurant and there's no one there, there's something inside that says, maybe people know something I don't know. Well, you're growing your business. And so if you get people to the meeting and there's no one at the meeting, does it feel like there's anything going on? No. That's a psychological impact. That's a reality because it's real to them. And so part of what we want to be able to do is I want us to start introducing, if we're going to pivot into growth. Sydney and Arson, your job is to get more people at the next event than you had at the last event. Why? Because if you have one more person in the room, then you've measured and you're showcasing growth. How are things going? Man, we had 4 people today. Last time we had 3. We had 6 people today. Last time we had 5. We had 8 people today. Last time we had 6. We had 14 people today. Last time we had 27 people. Last time we had 104. Right? It's not about having 104. It's about having 3 people next time. Does this make sense? Get more people to the next event than you had at the last event. Now, what's the second half of that sentence? And win. Why? It sounds simple, but we've got to give a language. Why is that important? Why? Builds excitement and builds one other thing. Builds credibility. So there are some people that are like, I haven't gotten recognition or won anything, and I want that in my life. This is awesome. Dawn. There's Bob that says, I don't really care about recognition. Bob doesn't really care about recognition. He likes it, but he doesn't really care about recognition. But you know what Bob cares about? Knowing that the person he's listening to knows what the hell he's doing. So Don says, oh my God, did you see him go across the stage? That was awesome. I want that. Bob goes, I don't really care if they called my name, but did you see all those people in the room? And there was like 50 people that got recognition. There's 600 people in the room. Dude, the guy we're with went across like 9 times. He knows what he's doing. It's not about making Bob jump up and down going, I want to go across the stage. No, he does. Right? We don't have, and it's not Dawn going, I care about whether he wins, which he does, right? Because we care about both, but we're driven and allowed to communicate via one. So there's a responsibility to grow. Get more people at the next event than you had at the last event. It's critical to your business. And win. It's critical to your business. Now, the great thing about Primerica, Art Williams is the biggest genius. Do you guys want to know the biggest con job genius in the history of our business? Okay, and this will tell you how important this is. And I mean con job in the best possible way. Okay, so winning is an important thing. Well, what happens? How do you win when you can't compete? Like, that's hard, isn't it? Like, we're going to walk into a room and we've got us. And we're like, we're learning and growing. But there's not a lot of opportunities to win. Like, we're not winning contests. We're not going to Disney. We're not doing the winning on any of this stuff right this second. Art Williams is my hero. Okay, so Art Williams said, we have to get more people at the next event than we got at the last event. We got to win. Well, our industry is the cash value life insurance industry, and we want to beat them. So we need to, how do we compete? How do we get our people believing that we have a legitimate shot to win? Okay, so the entire industry cares about profit. Money, right? So here's how cash value life insurance works. The average premium is $200 a month. The average face amount is $35,000 a year. So if you think about it, that's $2,400 a year in premium, and their liability is $35,000. And it was $15,000 a long time ago. But right now, the average face amount in force is $35,000. Now, the value of term says for $30, we can give you $300,000. So the entire industry cares about profit. Profit is that cash flow in against liability. Term says low input, high output, high exposure. Cash value says high cash, high premium in, low exposure. So the industry cares about premiums. Can term insurance care about premiums and win? No. So Art said, you know how we can win? We can sell the most face amount in the industry. Here's a life insurance company that said we can be the most exposed in the world and celebrate it. We have the most liability in the world. I want you to think about that for a second. Because what happened is we started selling. We are the #1 provider of coverage. Which means, well, why? Well, because they have to sell 10 policies to beat our 1. Because if the average premium, let's say the average face amount is $30,000, and our average premium is $300,000, they have to sell 10 policies. So they have to collect $24,000 to offset our $360 of premiums. Does this make sense? This is a fun little story, right? So if this is 1, they get $2,400 for the year. If they have to sell 10, they collect $24,000 in premium for $300,000 of liability. We collected $360 for $300,000 of liability. From a profit standpoint, who's better off? They are. But Art said, get more people at the next event than you got at the last event and win. So here's what happens. We can sell, we can compete if it's a 10-to-1 ratio on coverage. So we said, we beat Pru and New York Life combined. Big shirts. I want Pru bad. In 1984, I want Pru bad. Right? There's a big convention. They handed out shirts. I want Pru bad. And they walked with a big old banner, national champions. We've sold more face amount than any company in the industry. I started in 1977. By 1984, this company was selling more coverage than any company in the industry, which is fantastic. But it was a 10-to-1 liability ratio, and no one cared. Because everyone was like, that's right, we took down Pru. 2 years later, we took down Prudential and New York Life combined. We wrote more life insurance. We had more liability than the 2 largest financial services company in the industry. Collected 1/10 of the premiums. If something bad would have happened, we'd have been so screwed. Does this make sense? But it didn't matter because people went, we're doing the right thing. We're walking into a house, they could go in and do it, but they're not. So it wasn't a completely made up thing. It just was something that the rest of the industry didn't care about. Because they cared about this. Well, guess what? We highlight things that 6 months and a year and 2 years from now, we might not highlight. Why? Because we're going to create a space for us to feel good about growth and winning. This makes sense? Get more people at the next event than you got at the last event and win. We're going to create a space to win. Here's what I mean. My friend Yugi, my friend Arsen, could you guys come up here for a second? See, last week, my wife set up buddy partners with folks to be able to study and practice. And almost every day, she showed me the interaction of these 2 men taking this thing incredibly seriously. And so what I'd like you guys both to do is to chit-chat for a minute or 2 about what you've gotten this week, about some of the text, about what's going on, and the role that this is playing for you in knowing you're going to knock out these securities. So if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, that would be great.
Basically, straight out, it's been a daily thing. In the morning, they'll tell me, text me in the morning, good morning, getting ready for work or on the way to work. Hey, where are you at? Hey, that sounds good. I'm at the same spot, or maybe he's done a little bit more, whatever. We both had situations with our systems where we couldn't watch videos, but we're communicating and letting each other know what's going on. And in all honesty, last night I was having some issues, big issues with the videos, and I was talking, you know, we were back and forth, what's going on. He had given me some suggestions. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me, but it was working for him. And at that point, in all honesty, it, like he had mentioned prior, it became a competition. It was one of these, well, I can't get on it, you know, I can't do this. Oh, well, you know, try your tablet. Mine is working. I had the same problem, blah, blah. And so I tried my tablet, still didn't work. And but I told myself, you know, I've got the PDFs. I'm going to start reading at least so I can keep up. And he's like, oh, okay. He goes, well, that means I'll be ahead. I'm like, oh, no, this is not happening. I said, no. And I told him, I said, hell no. I said, no. I said, I got to fix this problem. But Cindy's helping. She came home last night. She actually showed me something that I didn't think I had to do, only because the videos were coming one by one. But I got to a certain point on there that I had to actually tell them that I was done with these things. I completed them, and then they got me to the next one. So she had figured it out, and I started moving in. But I mean, talking with Louie constantly every day, it's given me that inspiration. It's given me that excitement to, you know, hey, I've got somebody that I can speak with, and that we stay on the same level. And if need be, you know, if I have a problem, I know, you know, language or something, I can go to him right away immediately, and he can let me know what's going on, or if he's got a problem too as well, he can contact me, and I can help him out everything I can. And in all of this, we're keeping Robin, you know, with us. We got her in our conversation. We made sure that she was part of it, so this way she can see that we're actually doing this. It's getting done, and I love it. I mean, it's nice. I mean, I've got Cindy, yes, and she helps me out a lot, but to have somebody else on the outside that I can go to in case, you know, when she's not there, or if there's something that she may not understand herself. If I got somebody else that can help me out as well, and we can figure things out together, it's a big plus. And I tell you, it's working good. And I'm pretty sure it's working good for Ruby because, like I said, it's become one of these competition type of things. We're having fun with it. You know, we're definitely having fun with it. And we took a test today, both of us, and you know, we're doing good. You know, we're not getting what they asked us to on test teachers, but you know what, we're close, and it's keeping us going. I love it. I mean, I like it a lot. It's really helpful. Really helpful to keep in touch and talk with somebody else.
We touched on a lot of the stuff that I was going to say, but one of the things was that the competition wasn't. It's the competition where he's having issues, but I'm still able to help him. Because I texted him, like, look, I want me and you to be on the same page, whether we're up or down, this and that, but for us to move at the same pace, you know? So that's why I suggested on these other stuff, so he could keep moving. Versus, there's a lot of things that I see where I work, is like, somebody's having issues, like, oh, figure it out on your own, you know? And with what Primerica is and what we have in this office, it's not like that, you know? And it's more fun when you're growing with somebody at the same pace, you know? I mean, you can be at different scales, but you're growing, you know, because just this morning to the test, I told Cindy, like, well, here, write this number down, 71%. Then he came back 79. I'm like, so it was fun, and just having those conversations. Like, sometimes I'm not able to text them at night, and so early in the morning I get up, like, hey, what happened? Where did you finish off? You know, I just want to see where he's at, to see where I'm at, to see if I have to catch up, go from there, you know. So it did turn into a friendly competition, you know, but the competition is perfect, you know. It's not who's better, who's not. It's just the competition is perfect, you know.
Perfect. Thanks. Someone tell me why I had them speak there. They're the only ones that did it. Get more people the next event than you had the last event. Win. What they just showed. They're winning in the quest of taking this thing seriously. Right? Someone could be like, well, I got a 75 on the main test. But that's not the measurement of what we talked about. We talked about the ability to grow, to be able to work as partnerships, to be able to drive each other, to be able to go through. And here are two gentlemen that took that seriously and said, okay, look, if we're going to use this, if our coaches asked us to do this, we want to be able to learn to be able to grow. We're going to embrace this because we believe it's going to help us get to where we want to go faster. So now all of a sudden, both of them get a little bit of credit for going, okay, it's working. That makes sense? That's an example in that moment. I knew I was going to have them talk, but that was an example of when to be able to highlight what it is we're talking. Because there's a couple of people in the room that are like, I don't think this is important. I talked to them once, I texted them a couple times, but, it's not that important to me. Great. You're going to handle your own stuff. Here's what I know. What they're learning is going to help them grow multiple parts of the business, not just their Series 6. Because now they're learning about competition. They're worrying about playing. When all of a sudden, both of them have all their licenses, you think they're going to be able to continue that relationship? You think their team's going to be able to go? You think they're going to be able to learn how when they've got 3 people or 4 people on their team that are taking the securities, they're going to say, look, let me show you one of the things that really, really help. So why don't you guys pair up? And when their team's like, oh, this is stupid, they're able to talk about the value and the impact to their business and their growth. So many times we only see what's in front of us. I'm trying to get my 12-year-old to get past that. Okay, so y'all excited? All right, so the primary, time flies, time goes so fast. Okay, so the concept of big events, Sandlot. Okay, so here's what would happen. Let's say that we're having a fast start. A fast start is every 90 days, we get everyone together, we get together 4, 5, 6 offices, and we're going to highlight growth, right? We're going to have different speakers come in, we're going to do all this other stuff. Okay, so what happens is, the first thing is, it costs money for the venue, it costs money for the trophies, it costs money for this and that and the other, figure out the cost, and then let's say it's whatever the dollar is, right? Most fast starts that I've been a part of lately, but not lately, but so they range about between $10 and $15 a ticket. Okay, so here's what happens. The RVP comes in front of the room and says, okay, Cindy and Arson, how many tickets, how many people do you want to get there? And Cindy and Arson are like, I want 20 people in the room. Okay, great. Here's what you're going to do. You need to write me a check. Let's say it's $10 a ticket. You want 20 people in a room. Okay, so why don't you write me a check for $200 right now, and I'll give you these 20 tickets, and then it's your job to go sell them. Now, Arson and Cindy are like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get 20 people there. I wanted 20 people there. You asked how many people I wanted there. I wanted 20 people. I don't want to pay $200 for it, right? And so now all of a sudden, but it's like, man, if you're going to get big, and it's not that long, you'll be right, where all of a sudden brand new reps are buying 100 tickets. And the mindset is, if you're sitting on tickets, you're going to go sell them. You have to make yourself incredibly uncomfortable in order to talk to the people you want to get to an event to get to an event. And we're going to brag on how many tickets we've eaten, right? And so there's this, dude, man, I've eaten 1,000 tickets, right? And that's like our badge of honor. Now, the reason for that is the cost of these events costs the people that are designing them. And so it's like, okay, if I'm going to write a check for $8,000, we want to make sure that we recruit this. And the mindset of Primerica is wacky as hell, right? The mindset of Primerica is, if I'm an RVP and I'm putting on this event, I shouldn't lose money for this. I got to make sure that I recoup it, which is a really weird thing from a business owner standpoint. It's incredibly strange that says, I'm going to put on an event to grow my business. I'm going to make sure that I don't lose any money, but it's okay that you do. Like, when you say that out loud, I'm going to have my least compensated, my least experienced people risk losing the most amount of money because I'm going to make sure I don't lose any money as the veteran in the business that's making $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000. Like, when you say that out loud, that's freaking weird. But that's our Primerica business, historically. Like, that's not our Primerica business, but that's the Primerica business. Okay. So then the idea is, okay, you got 50 tickets, you got 100, okay, put your list together. And what ends up happening is you end up calling people and you're like, hey, do you want to come to this event? Do they have any idea why they're coming to the event? No. Do you have any idea why they're coming to the event? No. Do you think they should come to the event? Well, you have tickets, so yes, they should come to the event. And now, and they're like, yes, I'll come. And then you're like, how do I sell them these tickets? Wait a sec. Like, and so now you end up giving away the ticket, and it's just chaos. And then what happens is the event comes and you're mad the entire time because you didn't. It turns out to be a great event, and you're like, you start thinking of all the people that you should have gotten there that weren't there, that you really wanted to get there, but and then the next event it gets announced, and you're like, okay, the next event's going to be different. I'm going to buy another 100 tickets. I'm going to eat another 1,000. That is the primary, and it works because you get more people at the next event than you got at the last event. You get a bunch of people to buy more tickets than they can afford, and the RVP stands in front and pushes to get people there, and people drag people there, and then a message sends, and then the person in the room's like, oh my God, this works, and then the numbers, and then people are like, yeah, man, the only reason I'm in the business is I went to this big event, and then they're sold out. So big events work, but this is the chaos of a big event. Okay. I think that's important because as we move forward, this will not be our business, right? The last little thing to this is it becomes a tax liability nightmare, which just for this one time, I won't communicate this all the time, but here's the real nightmare of how Primerica works, right? So take RVP that's putting on the event, sold tickets, sold the, so let's say at $10 and the RVP below buys 100 tickets at $10, so that's $1,000. And then the RVP has 2 regional leaders that the RVP sells each one of them 40 tickets each for $800 or for $400 and $400, right? So the regional leader writes off the $400, but then the regional leader sells the tickets. And the RVP that wrote the check for $1,000 writes off the $1,000, but doesn't claim the $800 it got from the regional leaders. And then the RVP that put on the event writes off the cost of the event, but doesn't write off the $1,000 it got from the RVPs. If you'd like to know the definition of a tax nightmare that is waiting to happen in our country, in our company, because this is going on in every organization in the country right now. And I only know this, and I only say this openly online because the statutes of limitations on the events that I ran is over. So I'm neither confirming or denying that I ran this, but I'm willingly to say it today in 2016 because it's been 6 years since we've done an event. You guys are excited about that. This is a nightmare, and you don't understand the ramifications of it, but your business will never do it. The time, energy, money, and resources we put together, and the reason we're doing the things that we're doing, by the time we run big events, you will never have to work. And what that means is that 3 years from now, when you got an exploding RVP that's got 190, 200, 500, 1,000 people coming to a meeting, and then all of a sudden the IRS knocks on their door, and they've got a $48,000 tax liability, and this is called embezzlement, and your exploding RVP now has to shut down their business and go with tax overhead because now they've got all this stuff because it's coming. Look at the seriousness of my face. It's coming. I don't wish it on Primerica. I know it's coming because it's only going to take one. It's only going to take one smart auditor that knows what they're looking for. And the more multi-level companies and event companies there are out there, the more someone's going to figure it out. And then when they go to the financial services industry and they realize this is a nightmare. There are 3 things that we are going to be Forrest Gump on. Right? The power, right? Before Bubba Gump Shrimp, right? What happens? He got outside the hurricane. He didn't have to be the smartest, didn't have to be the best. He was the only ship in town. There are 3 things that we are Forrest Gumping events. We do managed accounts the way we do them. We've got our back office support so that none of our liabilities with our clients, and we have great follow-up with our clients, so none of them can be exposed. The second one, and then we actually help our people make money from the word go, so we don't do it. Okay, so, but does this make sense? This is important to know because what I'm about to announce. Now, I need you to understand that every system we have isn't in place yet, but we will be working on it. Okay. So we made an announcement that on January 14th, which is the second Saturday of January, we are going to become our first travel ball. Right? Our first, right? So I called my friend Alex Ruzic, who's got an office in Northridge, and I call Alex, and I'm like, Alex, this is what we're doing, this is what our plan is. And Alex goes, oh, Brett, we don't do Saturdays anymore. He goes, I got a group of 30 or 40 people. We do $10,000 to $15,000 a premium. He goes, if I had a bunch of new people when we were growing, I'd have to do Saturdays, but we just kind of hugged. You know, he makes 300 grand and travels 4 months out of the year. He's like, I don't do Saturdays anymore. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really help us. He's like, we do a Tuesday night training. I'm like, no, we don't need to do that because I definitely don't need people going, we should do that because we kind of do that. But we are going to put a bunch of new people in a room, and with a bunch of new people in a room, you know what you need? Saturday mornings. And he's like, but it's funny that you asked about January 14th. And I go, why? He goes, because we are doing a fast start with Tom Aminacrazi, who's one of the biggest investment guys in California, Alan Medrano, who was actually on our travel ball list, and a guy named Jose Padilla, who is just a good guy, who's got things going. They all make about $300,000 a year. And he's like, we do an event, and you guys can come to Pomona from 10 to 2 on Saturday on the 14th. And I'm like, I'll get back to you. Talk to Sue, Robin, talk to Adrian. They're like, let's do it. So our first travel ball team game will be meeting here at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, January 14th. And we will drive to Pomona, and we will sit and we will watch the celebrations and the growth. Mike Sharp, $5 million earner, will be speaking. We will get value from the business, right? We're going to watch a lot of recognition. We're going to see a lot of stuff. It's not quite the ideal, and it is kind of good because all of us in the room at some point are going to be like, I want that, because the job is to get more people to the next event than you got at the last event. And when you're going to see smart focus, and they are people who build it a lot like, well, they prioritize investments. They are, we're going to recruit, but we're really going to make sure that we help people with their money. There's going to be some cool investment ideas that will come into your presentation. And all of you guys are focused on your securities license, so it'll be a very, very, very cool thing. Now, anyone who passes their test between now and then, I will work like crazy to see if we can get some recognition for the people who pass their tests, whether it's their 65, their 26, I see if I can get their 6. I don't know if they do their 6 and 63, but I will try to get us. The only sense of recognition that we will have is if I can pull it off on anyone who passes their securities between now and then, right? So I will do everything I can to get more people in the next event, the last event, and then I will work like crazy to make sure that we have an opportunity to win. So like you're taking it before, you're taking it before, you're taking it before, you guys are taking it before, you're taking it before, you're right at that, you're taking it before, you're right. So it gives us some sense of, hey, can we, right? So it allows us to have an opportunity to win at a game that we're actively playing, right? So if you guys keep this up, you've got a better shot by collaborating and moving because we got one month, right, to be able to pull the trigger. So now this does a couple things. It instantly created, because I want to talk about the value of these events. The moment I said we're going to potentially get recognition, there were people in the room that all of a sudden January 14th became a little bit more important. Passing the test became a little bit more important. You wanted it before I announced it, you're like, yes, I want it as soon as possible. Now all of a sudden you're like, wait, I can pack my 6 and my 63, I can go through, I get this stuff, like I can be close, right, and I can celebrate, and make sure. All right, you just experienced the value of a big event. The very first sense and value is a hard deadline with a group of people to celebrate. Now you start realizing, wait a second, if I'm going to pass my test and they're going to give me recognition and there's going to be 300 or 400 people in the room, who do I want at that event with me to be able to celebrate that growth with me, to be able to see that I passed? Because it's one thing for me to say I passed, it's another thing for people to be in a room, hear the winning, here's what's going on, and then watch me go across the stage. So now it's, oh, 1, I want you to pass by the 14th. 2, Sears says he's going to do everything he can to get us recognition. 3, I want to have people in the room to be able to witness this experience. Are you starting to experience some of the emotions that we're talking about? This is what you're starting to feel, and it might be a little bubble. It might be, you think it's gas, right? I don't know. But it allows you to start. Part of this is you realizing the tools of Primerica. See, the weird part of what we're going to do over the next year is I'm going to have to explain a lot of the tools and why they work. When we have it cranking, we don't have to stand in front of a room and explain it. Because there's people that are like, you know, so funny is like I reckon, and they'll stand up and talk about it, and now it just is. But we don't have an is. And so when you get those little feelings, I want to give a language and a label to it for you to be like, oh, this isn't just gas. This is, I want to walk across and say, we are passing this test. Does that make sense? These are those senses of why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so now the good news about this is, I like how Alex does things. They're not $5, they're 10. They're not $10, they're $5 a ticket. So that's a whole lot better than $10 a ticket. Here's what I am going to ask. I am going to ask that you tell me a number of what you would like. I'm not holding you to it. I'm going to work with you to it. The benefit of saying I want 20 tickets is you now start going, what did happen a lot, Tig, is people would tell me 20 and they would get 8 people there. But if they would have told me 5, they would have gotten 5 people. So the value, so then the question becomes, what's the value of the 3 extra people in the room? Right? If you paid an extra $150, but you got 3 extra people in the room and one of them bought or joined, you paid back. And so the explanation as to why it worked is it always, I want us to develop an entrepreneurial spirit, which is you're on fire for your opportunity, not you're scared you're going to lose $150. If you see the value and you understand the growth and you're inspired to get people a part of this, now it's not, okay, I'm going to talk to more people because I don't want to lose these tickets. Is, oh, no, you got to be a part of what we're doing. Before it was, you should follow me because you'll never meet anyone tougher than me. You might meet people as tough as me, but you'll never meet someone as tougher than me. And I'll tell you the stories to prove it. And if Tony hasn't had a lot of tough people in his life, then he's like, man, I'm going to follow Sears because I love the fact that there's a tough person that's going to meet me and the hurt that's going to be there, right? But then he's got to ask his people to be as tough. Nah. You shouldn't follow me because I'm tough. You should know I'm tough. And if you need me, I'll be there. But that's not why you follow me. You follow me because I got a system to show you how to get completely, totally financially independent. You should follow us because we build a business model that says our #1 goal for everybody in this room in the next 30 to 54 months is to become an RVP and to get to $300,000 of income. Why? Because you then have full ownership and you could sell that business for $1.8 million on the spot. The reason we built the software program we've got is we're going to have access to the relationships that we're talking about now. The reason access support is so critical is we're going to make sure that we've got a compliant and incredibly strong business. The reason we're doing the 401ks and the structures and everything that we're doing the way we are, so that we have a very unique and a very consistent business model with strong-term relationships. Where if all of a sudden, right, Cindy and Arson say, man, we want to go open up, David wants to open up a soccer center, right? He wants to, that's his passion, that's his drive, that's his thing, and he needs seed money. So he's like, look, I'm going to build a business for America, get it to $1.8 million in capital, and that allows me to seed my soccer centers around the country if that's where his passion is. Then the way David builds that business, I know how his business grows. I know the value. We've got the underlying. We're looking underneath the hood. We know all the compliance issues. We know any of the clients. We know any of the challenges. We know the business company relationships that are there. We know all of it. So I can walk in and say, David, I'll give you the $1.8 million for your business. David takes the $1.8 million, goes opens up a soccer center. But you understand that I now have the foundation that over the next 2 years I can very easily grow that from 300,000 to 600,000 because the foundation's there. But what happens if we build 3 people that get to 300 grand, 300 grand, 300 grand, and all of them say, I want to sell, I want to sell, I want to sell. Great, no problem. Now all of a sudden, over the next 3 years, we take their 300,000 to 600,000. You understand the value of my business just doubled in size because I didn't have to go start. There's already a foundation of 150 or 200 or 300 people that I got to work with that we get to develop and grow. So David's like, I got my $1.8 million, and I go, I have a seed of foundation, so I don't have to keep starting over. We build our business model that way. Now Camacho might go, I'm not quite ready yet. I'm like, great, why don't you build it to 600 grand? So over the next 2 years, David builds it to 600 grand and comes and says, maybe I'm ready. But now all of a sudden, that's a $2.4 to $2.6 million business. No, it's not. 3.6. So David's like, over the last 3 years, now he's 3.6 million. I'm like, so do I ever want David to leave? No. But David's passionate soccer centers. And he's got 450 people in his organization. He's got 39 companies that he's working with, that the relationships place that we're going and develop. Is that business going away? We got the clients, the organizations. So now David, I'm like, does this make sense? But this is important because everyone hears me talking about David. David gets to sell this to himself. And then the moment David says, or Tony says, I'm a lifer, Tony gets to go, he gets to recruit anyone and say, look, Sears' goal is to get you to 300 grand in the next 30 to 54 months, and then I'll buy your business. Because if Isaac got it to 300 grand, I'm not buying the business if he doesn't want to. Who's buying the business? You are. Primerica's got an entire infrastructure. You don't have to write a check for $1.8 million. There's an entire, they build the entire structure of the system. It's ridiculous. Now, there's no office in the country that's going to sell this meeting because people in the country will make fun of you. Why would you sell your business? You know why? Because this isn't a damn cult. This isn't a you're in and you're stupid to get out. This is a business owners, lots of companies build lots of companies. Lots of people build companies to sell because they want to go do something else. And this can fund it. So maybe you fall in love with it. Maybe you become a lifer. But take it, probably 54 months from now, you're making $300,000 and someone said, hey, here's a check for $1.8 million. Could you go fund, your game company with $1.8 million in capital? Yeah, I think so. And your ability to go to any VC and say, well, why should I fund you? Well, I've already sold one company for 7 figures. So I know how to build a company and I have my own capital. So I need to raise 20 million. Well, I'm going to put $500,000 of my own capital in, and I've already sold the company for $1.8 million, so I know how to build something from scratch. Is that valuable? You guys got to know this tool. Right, Sue, I'm telling you, man, this is it's ridiculous. And we are going to get laughed out of the country until it works. People are going to hate when I brag and talk about this shit from the stage. Hate it until it works. Because you can recruit people you can never recruit if you know this story. If you recruit people to be a senior national sales director and be here 20 years from now to be able to make $500,000 and one day you're going to make $1 million a year and their heart and passion isn't in it, I don't need your heart and passion in it. I need you to learn how to run a business. And if you run a business the way we're talking, you can create some freedom. So, Mr. Camacho, could you please come up here? Could you, for 4 minutes, tell the story that you learned yesterday, or 2 days ago? Part of what you guys all are going to start learning is I want to run these meetings less and less. My goal is to not run these meetings. My goal is to navigate these meetings. So when you have experiences during the week, tell me about them, and then practice your ass off in the car on the way back. What happens if Sears asks me to come up and speak? Right? I didn't know you guys were prepared. Robin said she told you something that I fully supported her decision. And you're going to get less and less warning. Part of being an entrepreneur is being able to tell your story from the word go. You're going to be standing at a mall. You're going to be at a grocery store. You're going to be at a kid's event. And you want to be able to share your impact stories. For so long in Primerica, it was like, I have to practice my talk. No, you got to develop your impact story habits. You got to get good at having an experience, digesting and assessing it, and then articulating it over and over and over again so that when you get into a conversation with somebody, you can just go and you can influence and impact them. That is a skill as an entrepreneur because you never know who you're standing next to. You never know who might know somebody who. And if you're looking for the perfect presentation, you're going to miss it. Saturdays are about impact stories. I will navigate them, and if we don't have good stories, I can run a training. Trust me, I can go for hours. I'm giving you time. This is what I'm trying to do. Because I know you're not prepared, right? I don't always do that. Right? So you can replay what I just said because you didn't hear it. Right? But this is what this is about.
So this was coming to my head. So I learned a couple things, right? That I have my own stigma with my marriage as well, right? We all do. And what was happening with me in my business is I was telling everybody about the team access opportunity. Right? I was recruiting everybody to that. We're different. I was recruiting everybody to that. We're going to change the game. We're going to change every office. Every office still does what my stigma is. And my stigma is that even though I recruit people and I tell them about team access, I'm still telling them, I'm still thinking in my head, you know, we got to see people every day. You know, we have to go prospect. And I'm thinking these things as I'm telling them about team access and why they're different. So if I'm thinking these things, they're seeing or they're feeling, and they're still thinking these things. They're still thinking that we have to see people all the time, right? Just recruit everywhere. And if you get a license, you're probably not going to make money anyways, because out of 100 people that come to the business, when we told them to get licensed, we should do statistics that are 8 days. And only one woman that gets licensed actually doesn't. So all of these things are in my head while I'm recruiting people to team access or talking to them about team access. So me confronting my stigma and then practicing and sharing it with my support system, I went to Brian and Alice, one of my good friends of mine, and I told him, listen, I have to practice this presentation with you guys because it's the stigma that I'm dealing with, and if I'm dealing with it, they're dealing with it, right? So I went to their home, and I had practiced it multiple times with other people, so when I got there, I was actually clear on the message that I wanted to give. And as I was giving them the message, Anna, which she never even sat down with us before, it was just me and Brian, she was interacting. She's like, wait, so you have to go see people anymore? And she would explain, you know, and she would ask questions, and I'm like, thank you for asking questions because I need to clarify here. And it got me into talking about the wellness of 401k, right? What we're different, why we're different, because Sandlot's approach, Sandlot's approach is this, right? It's like talking to people all the time. You're gonna go use their market and stuff like that. And then I talked about the wellness program, which they all saw on my Snapchat, right? Because we went to the school in the career day, and she was like, so what is it that you did? And I explained that, and I explained why we're different, and how we're always gonna have people to see, so we take care of that problem. So when I started explaining that, I also shared a story that when I went last Saturday, I went to the store, to my Best Buy store, and as soon as I walked out, a friend of mine saw my, he like waved me down. He's like, David, hey, what's going on? I was like, hey, what was that whole thing you were doing on Snapchat the other day? You were at a school talking to some kids. And I was like, well, I was doing financial support, I was teaching kids to save money, the whole process of it. And I just shared what I thought, and I was like, and we help them out with financial literacy. There's a business that's into 401k, we help them out with that. There's nobody who work for a construction company, and I'm in charge of the payroll, and we don't have a 401k. And I was like, no way. It was like, yeah, we don't have a 401k. And I was like, well, what is it? He was like, we just started getting sick days, man. And I was like, well, I mean, I was like, listen, I'm not the expert. I know the experts. I know people that you can connect you guys with. But give me your number, and we can get together. And it's a 70 to 140 construction company that doesn't have a 401k, and within the week, right? And that's what I shared and explained to Brian and Anna. And I said, that was within the first 4 days of me going aspiring full-time entrepreneur, right? Because I'm not there yet. But that happened within a week. And what a whole, I don't know if I want to share this, but I want to share. So it went well. I was clear. I came back, talked to Brett. I gave him feedback. And he was like, listen, out of all the times that you ever had a conversation with him, this is the time you were clear, right? So he celebrated my win, right? And what I didn't realize, so when he celebrated my win, I left the office like, oh yeah, I feel good. I knocked it out of the park. Later that day, I go back in there again. And he's like, so did you like me celebrating my win? I was like, yeah. I was like, can I tell you what it was? And I was like, damn, what is my whole, right? Because you can always grow from anything. And that's something that I'm learning now. Is like, no matter what, if it went so well, have someone tell you what could have gone better or where can you grow from. And as I was having a conversation with Ryan and Anna, they're good friends of mine. Right? They don't have the coverage that they want. They don't have the college funds for their kids. They don't have a lot of things that we offer them already. So I love that we fixed the problem with the stigma. I've always believed in the product, right? I've always believed that we could help people save invest money and protect their families and plan for the future. So why didn't I have that conversation? Because I didn't know. I got there to the point of just sharing the whole wellness program that I forgot that's the way to actually get into our right? So I was having that conversation. I could have said, listen, now you know we fixed the problem. I love you guys. You guys are covered. How can I do that? How can I help you? Right? Because they were hearing me. So I guess the whole premise of this is, you know, you're always going to know, you're always going to learn, you're always going to grow, and so much.
So there's a couple of reasons for this. Is one, what are a couple things you just learned from David? Practice is good. Make sure people know what you're doing. Good.
Feedback.
What do you mean?
Share, you have an experience, share with somebody.
Okay.
That's what you want to do.
Okay. So that's the point I want to kind of hit real quick. So David shared with me, right? And what did you want from me when you shared with me? To celebrate. So what did we do? We celebrated. What didn't we do? This is an important piece because Don takes your natural premise is to seek feedback. But guess what? Not everybody's natural premise is to seek feedback. And so we want to make sure that we don't apply our own challenges too. David's goal when we talked wasn't feedback. David's goal was celebration. So what did we do? We celebrate. If I offer suggestions when David's in celebration mode, is David happy? No. David's like, I can't do anything. So then David doesn't want to celebrate with me anymore because he doesn't trust that he's going to celebrate. So when David's celebrating with me, in the back of my head is, David only wants me to celebrate. Shit. Okay. What do I need to do over the next period of time to get David open to actually asking what is occurring? So my job as a coach is to create a space for him to want to ask. That make sense? So we created that space. Now what am I doing right now? I'm introducing that space because what do I want from Tony? I want Tony to be able to celebrate and ask. It's not about, oh God, what did I do wrong? It's about celebrating and self-assessment. My goal is for David Camacho to be able to walk in and go, I crushed it. I did this, I did this, I did this. But there was a hole here. How could I fix this hole? Right? And why? Because one, we want to be able to create that, but I want David to be able to self-assess his own business. He might not do it well in the beginning, but is that a skill? Yeah. And if he gets better at that skill, guess what? He's going to be able to do that. So we're at a really, really fun and unique place where we're starting to talk about the growth and the opportunities and the development of our businesses. We are going to continue to do this. One, I want to personally thank my friend Cindy, my friend Arson, and my friend Yubi, because all of them and John, I don't remember, I think those three sent me a copy of their page. Did I miss anybody? No. So I want to personally thank the three of you for doing that, because it gave me insight as to what we're going to work on and what we need to. Today was going to be that the kids, we got a little screw up, so I was going to run a longer meeting and we were going to spend some time on that. So I'll be reaching out and we'll be working with you guys. I know where some of the holes are. Next Saturday, we're going to go over this sheet. And so my goal is that everybody please do it, look at it, shoot me a picture of it, right? So that we know what the areas are. It helps me know what to work on when I know where the holes are, rather than we're just gonna go over the whole sheet, right? Because if we know it, we've got it. Again, get more people the next event than you got the last event win, right? These are little things. I don't have to say a word about the people who didn't. I just get to celebrate the ones who did, right? Those are fun experiences. This is what we're building, right? I'm going to highlight this. In my past business, it would have been about minimizing the people who did it and challenging the people who didn't. It would have been about minimizing UB and Arson and what they're doing and challenging the people who didn't and their thinking as to why they didn't. That's not the business that I want to be a part of. I want to celebrate our victories as though they're our own, because they can be, because none of it's magic. So we got the meeting this Wednesday. Let's have some people there. No zeros. I'm still a big believer. By the way, I wasn't here on Wednesday night right through the whole thing, but congratulations on Mr. License and stuff like that. We're going to celebrate it on Wednesday night, because we'll have your little sheet, your license, so we'll do it in front of everybody on Wednesday night. So just so that you know, in case you want to get people here, we can celebrate that. But no zeros in December. Let's everybody help a family. Let's everybody tell a story. Let's everybody create it. It's the 10th of the month, right? I talked with this to a lot of people on the 1st of the month, and they're like, yeah, absolutely, it's done. Boom, it's the 10th. Hey, boom, it's the 10th. Boom, it's going to be the 20th. Boom. It's going to be New Year's Eve. Oh, where'd it go? Boom. It's just going to happen. So, Wednesday, and then let's talk about the 14th of January. One, it's going to be a day. Put it in your dang calendar. Please, I'm asking, I'm begging. But trust me on the tools that we're doing. Halfway through the day, you're going to be mad at me. That's okay. We'll get through the day. January 14th, right? We're going to meet here at 8 a.m. We'll be back here about 3 p.m. You're going to go hear someone who makes $5 million and a bunch of people that there's going to be a significant amount of success in entrepreneurship in this room. This would be a good place to start. But start putting your list together. How many people where, and then let's talk. We'll spend some time next week about your list. If you come in with the 4 or 5 people, we can work on how do you talk to them? What is this about, right? It starts with the people that come on the 14th. The ones who come this Wednesday night have a better chance of coming on the 14th. The 14th isn't new people. The 14th is people who are in the business. Well, after the 14th, after this Wednesday, there's still going to be people in the business because I'll meet with them, right? We don't have to come to a meeting to meet with them. We can still meet with them. They can come to the Wednesday night before. Like, we can still recruit and we can get the people to the 14th, but the 14th isn't brand new people that have no idea what's going on. The 14th is people going, we're going to start growing. Isaac's at the 14th, right? We start putting that on the calendar, right? Ryan Mann on the 14th. We start building that. Anthony's on the 14th. Maybe the lady, like those are the folks that we develop a relationship with. So, you guys excited? Let's blow up Wednesday night. Let's let them know it's all about access. Thanks for sharing. Okay.